Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've got Stacy with me at the anvil, and we're going to be talking about people that cannot get their money out of the banks. For real stories that people call in and tell us that have owned businesses and now they're trying to get their money and they can't. So it's nutty. We're going to talk about banks that are hoarding gold and countries that are holding gold for that matter. And what was the other thing?
And we're going to talk about gold predictions.
Oh, the 2023 gold predictions.
And it's not our predictions.
No, not our predictions. We'll never do predictions. And I do have a sponsor. We got a sponsor today.
I'm so excited.
I am too. Sanu Gold. Thank you for the sponsor. And guys, if you're interested in speculating and leveraging your precious metal holdings, this company has drilling 3 holes right now. They're actively drilling. I mean, I always look for that. They're in the 3rd best spot in Africa. I'll get to that in a minute. First, I want to cover all this other information.
Right. Well, let's get to the story about the guy that called me about. Let's talk about the banks first to get money. Because I think that's a concern that's on everybody's mind right now, as we've talked about, and we get calls, well, pretty much daily. So a gentleman called me, and he had owned a business. He had actually invented something, sold it, made a nice profit, put the money in the bank. But that's not where. So he went to the bank just to actually do a cashier's check, and he said, "Hey, I think it was around $10,000." And they said no, they would not do it. He said, well, fine. If you're not going then to give me cash for this cashier's check, then I'll just close my account. And he said the bank freaked out and said, you can't do that. We don't have, I guess it would mess up the books.
He invented something. He dreamed it up in his head and he put it into production. He grew the company to where it was a lot of money and he sold it. Now he's got a ton of money in this bank. He goes to get 10 grand and they cannot produce 10 grand. Why do I have all that? I can just imagine sitting there. I've got all this money in the bank. You can't show me $10,000. I do the same thing. So he's actively seeking out gold. I think that's really cool. And that's going to be the reason a lot of people do it as this thing decays and rots.
That's why he called. He said he's diversified in a lot of different areas, but he's never really considered, or so maybe a little bit, but not all. So he said, "Hey, I'm open. What do you guys have? What do you?" But I was like, "Man, that's a wake up call for different people that we've talked about or whatever." And what's really ironic, okay, so you think about that, and banks right now, which by the way, heads up, the banks are going to do a report earnings on Friday. So you guys watch it because whenever they do this, it always messes with the stock market and gold and silver and different things like that. So you got JP Morgan, you got Bank of America, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo. They're all going to do a report earnings. Then, in addition to that, Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs, they have all come out and said they are going to do a combined $5.7 billion in reserves to prepare for, quote, soured loans. They know what is coming down the pipe. Global investment banking revenue sank $15.3 billion in the 4th quarter. That's 50% from year earlier on quarter, and that's according to the reports or whatever. So based on that, we were talking and how all these banks are running into gold. Not necessarily the United States banks, but you've got China, India.
They're doing the opposite.
They're doing the opposite, of what we're doing.
Yeah, the BRICS countries, they bought 400 tons of gold. China being the biggest buyer, I'm pretty sure. Now, well, you can't tell because they'd tell a lie when the truth would do better.
That's true. When they came out, there was a buyer in China. There was a buyer in November, and they tried to hush it, and they finally just admitted and said that it was China.
They don't want us to know this. This is a fake paper price. I feel bad for the people that are going to be using fiat currency as it decays and goes away to zero. It is 100% for sure, based on history and facts, that the currency we're using now will return to its intrinsic value of zero. Nothing. All of them do.
And so speaking of that, and we've talked about all of their hoarding gold, let's talk about what everybody's been forecasting with gold.
Yeah. So Jeff Clark, a friend of mine, went and visited some mines with him. I'll share the screen with you right now. He put this out today, which was really awesome. This is 2023 price predictions. And look at all of them. I mean, every one of these is more than what it is now. I mean, well, I don't know what that one is, but
nope, they all are.
Every one of them. All right. So Denmark's Saxo Bank, 3,000 is possible. Rich retirement letter, 3,000 before year end. David Morgan, my good buddy David Morgan, 2,200 up to 2,400. That's that's this year.
Yep.
And there's some big ones in here. 2,425 up to 4,821 by 2030. But the thing is, none of them's less. None of them.
Yep.
I want to run down here real quick to gold usually positive during recessions. There's your 1971 right there. 1971, they took us off the gold standard. It kind of went up and people kind of fizzled out. And then that happened. The inflation happened. It shot up in 1980.
Well, that's
the
also
gas lines and all that.
Interest rates went to 18% for housing.
And then it kind of went flat, kind of horizontal, all the way to 2000. Then you got gold coming all the way up here in around 2012. It took a dip around 1200 and then it shot up and now it's around
1878, 1880, and
so
it's been holding there.
Yeah, for now. It's performed better than a lot of things, and that brings me to how it's done during gold during its biggest stock crashes. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. It was from 1973 all the way to 2020. Just take a look at that. Let's just talk about the average. 32.2% S&P 500 negative, and gold 19.4%.
High up. Yep.
I mean, there it is. The numbers don't lie. When gold goes to 5,000, it is going to make the miners go ballistic.
Oh my goodness.
They can
already becoming a shortage.
Yeah. Well, supply and demand, but it's just hard to denominate real money with fiat currency because there is no floor. But I mean, I guess there's no telling how high it can go. Fiat currency will go to zero. Where's that going to put gold?
But anyway, let's talk about
Sanu Gold.
Yeah, let's talk about them.
Guys, I've been looking and watching miners for a long time, and I have the privilege to start talking about them, and I'm pumped. So, okay, Sanu Gold is in Guinea.
West Africa.
Now check this out. They've got 18% of their GDP is made up from the mining sector. It is a big part of the country's economy, and it makes up 75% of their exports as well. So this is a big deal for this country.
Yep.
And they're the third largest, most attractive investment in Africa. They're in like the third best region there. Now, when I look at miners, I like to look at who's in charge. What have they done? What's going on with them? So Martin Palicek.
Good luck pronouncing that.
Okay. Mr. Palicek has got 20 years of experience in the industry, and he worked for BHP for 11 of those years. I worked for BHP for 7 years, and I know enough about them to know they are mining gurus. That's what they do. You name it, they're mining it.
Yep.
Silver, gold. I don't know if they're into silver, but they're into diamonds and all kind of stuff.
Very, very large company.
Yeah, they did natural gas here in Louisiana, and I was always really impressed in how professional they were. So I'm hoping he took all of that information, everything he learned over there, right to Sanu Gold. There's that's the team. Okay, slide 16. Now, the work program, when I come up on a location, because I've been to mines, I have got to watch them do this, witness it. And I love to see people working when you show up. They are gathering money to actually work and drill, not to think about it, not to, look around. They're actively doing this on 3 different holes. And these are the holes right here. Oh yeah. That's one of the cores I brought back.
Yeah, he sure did, from one of the mines.
It was so neat.
Yeah.
I would love to go look at some more and make some videos. So they're going down 10,000 meters, drilling in the Bontebay area to begin initial testing on high priority targets. They're doing 10,000 meters follow up drilling at the Diana.
Good. That's how you say it.
Yeah, doing my best, guys.
Yep.
5,000 meter drilling at the Dargufera.
You did a good job.
Okay.
You did a good job.
Point is, they're doing over 200 holes in the beginning of Q1.
Yep.
So they're getting busy.
Yep.
I mean, I love to see it. And the last thing, what I really want you guys to check out is how close they are to other large mines, surrounded by mining giants in West Africa. All right, 5.7 million ounces, Nord Gold. Follow that little yellow arrow right there, and it's really close to Bonda Bay. Diana, right there in the middle. You've got Anglo Gold, 6.6 million ounces, right there close. 1.9, Hummingbird, 4.2, Predictive Discovery. They're actively drilling in these locations that have gold there everywhere.
Yeah, and I didn't know, but West Africa's was actually one of the first of the gold mining, or number one gold minings in the world. We always thought it was China. In my head, I just always, for some reason, thought it was China. We were talking about that earlier, but they are actually the number one.
Number one. And guys, I want you to check this project out. I will link all this in the description. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Thank you for being here and taking time to hang out with us. Have an awesome, awesome day. We'll see you in the next one. Later.